Hey everybody, Kevin here from HumboldtCraftworks. Welcome back to another episode of Woodworking with Mr. Kevin. Today's episode, what we're going to do is we're going to continue our saga with the assembling pre-finished cabinets. Today's going to be running molding around the inside of a face frame and building doors and figuring out what the rail sizes are, how to figure out your raised panel sizes, how to make all those parts. We're going to time-lapse a bunch of stuff just to run through it really fast. And at the very end, I'm going to glue up a door and show you from start to finish how the whole thing goes together. For a cope and stick door. And we're going to put chapters in here so you can skip through whatever the hell you want, because I do that all the time, and chapters seem to be helpful and people like them. So let me know what you think in the comments below, whether you like them or not like them, and let's get to the video. Thanks for watching. Bye. All right, so here we go. Everybody ready? I have to wrap this entire thing with this beaded molding right here. We sanded the frames to 220 because they're getting painted dark blue. All this molding has been sanded. We ease this edge because you don't want a sharp edge. All right, so we're gonna do this a couple of ways. You ready? First way we're gonna do this is just to measure it. That's 27 inches. I'm gonna come on here, I'm gonna mark 27 inches. I'm gonna mark the top of the molding, which is right here. Okay, so we measured 27 inches to there. We're putting just a little line so we know which way to go, and we're gonna cut big of the line. Okay, you can see that. I'll cut it large because I want to work my way into it. You can have your chop saw set up and continually move it back and forth if you want to. Or you can do what I always do and just leave it set up like this so it's chopping away from you. Just flip the molding upside down. You cut it that way. You flip it upside right and then you cut it that way again. That way you don't have to move the damn thing. I'm lazy and I get tired of moving my chop saw around, left and right. You're gonna cut it this way, cut it that way. So now we have this piece here. We gotta cut this going the opposite direction. We're gonna flip it upside right. So this one's over here. I'm just looking down on it, eyeballing it kind of. And you can use a square if you want to, you don't have to, but whatever makes you more comfortable. Okay. And now we're all just a little long. All these pieces are just a little long. And now we can just work our way into it. And that's exactly how I go about doing this every single time. Now some wood's gonna chip out if you cut it upside down and backwards like I just did. But for the most part, it all works out pretty well. And you can also do this. Right? You can touch that there. All right, here's the back. I'm gonna use the back a lot. And I'm just gonna put a line right on the back like this. Okay, then we're gonna come over this way, boom, put a line, and I'm just gonna put it in here like this because I'm cutting it upside down and backwards for this size. See, we still have that pencil mark, which means it'll still fit. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Just gonna put the molding in backwards, mark this like this, mark that there. I'm just gonna cut this, okay? See how it's backwards? I got that little line right there. Now I'm gonna go over to my disc sander and I'm just gonna disc everything till it fits. Quick little disc sand. You want these in there pretty damn snug. That is almost perfect. A little too snug. Here we go. There we go. Now it'll be perfect. All right, there's that one. I'm gonna go do this one. You want these to go in snug. You don't want them super tight. Like that one I'm trying to push in and I can't get it to go. It's too tight. So when you get your disc sander, you gotta practice a lot doing miters because you wanna know exactly how long it takes to disc off so much and you develop a feel for it. There it is, good and tight. Okay, so when we go to install this, it's very important that we get all this molding flush to the back of the face frame because if it's not and it's sticking out forward, it's gonna look funny when we put the inset door in there. So there's another thing we can do to make this work is put down a hunk of plywood so this molding sits flat and it's not on the carpet. And I'm gonna do that, I think. There we go. Now what we're gonna do is just put all this stuff in and nail it in place. I'm just gonna put a little glue on the back of this one just to start with. Just a little bit like that. And I'm just gonna flip it up into place just like that. Pushing down on the molding onto the plywood. I'm putting in about every 8 inches or so, I don't know. About 2 inches from the end. You see the little holes? Here we go. Now we're gonna do the other side. The little ones we're gonna slide in last. We're gonna slide them in from the back and we're not gonna glue them. These ones we're gonna glue because they're bigger and they need to be glued in. It just works a little better. I'll show you. You could try to glue in the little ones, you know, the little tiny risers, but you're gonna get glue everywhere, and that's more of a pain in the butt than just not gluing them. What we're gonna do is we're gonna sneak them in from the back here, slide them in place. What we're gonna do is gonna put glue on, dab of glue like that on the back half. Not too much, and then we'll do the same over here. Not where the bead is, but down below, because we're gonna slide this in, flip it up right like this, and hold it in place, put 2 pins in it. Do the same thing on this side. And I guess you could put more glue in if you wanted to. You start at the top, because it's all getting smooshed backwards, right? Glue management, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep it from splooging out all over the place. But sometimes it just does. So we've got glue on both ends like this. I'm gonna slide it in from the back. Flip it up. I'm gonna use our thumb to make sure it's flush, make sure everything's nice and flush. About 1.5 inches from the end, we're gonna put a pin, and now we're gonna put another pin on this side. There it is. You've now just beaded your face frame. Hey everybody, Kevin here. Welcome to day 3 of the assembling the upper cabinets. Today what we're gonna do is I'm gonna sand the putty off, and then we're gonna get a cutlass for the doors. I'm going to pull out the old trusty router table, set it up, and I have to shape all the door parts because they're all the doors are made with cope and stick with a little shape on it. So all the pieces I have sitting over there for all the doors are all milled and they're all shaped like this, but I have to do the rails, which means I have to cut them, and then I have to shape the ends, and then we're gonna put them, we're gonna assemble them. We have our 3-inch stock that's already been shaped. See, it's already got a shape on it. 2 inches over here. We're gonna start with the longest parts first, which are the stiles for the upper doors. We're gonna use the double miter gauge workstation again because it's quick, simple, and easy, and it's cheap. There's a video of over here. You should check it out. We're gonna start with the longest parts first, and like if you haven't seen that cutlass video, which is over here, everything's in yellow, that's been milled, and when it's done, it gets crossed out in green. Here we go, I'll put on some music. All right, I crossed out everything that we just did. There's 10 of those guys. When we're doing doors, I have this cope and stick with a little shape on it. You have to add 3/8 per side, so 3/4 of an inch total to get in here, okay? So the door doesn't actually sit in here. When you measure it, you have to add that 3/8 of an inch dado on both sides, which equals 3/4. That's on there. Here we go again. There we go. All right, everybody, so what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna set up the router table, and then we'll start shaping the ends of these things, and we'll start putting the doors together. When we put the doors together, I'll take the measurements for all the raised panels, and then we'll start milling the raised panels up. And we'll hopefully shape all the raised panels today, sand all the parts. Then I gotta spray blue on the raised panels before I assemble them, because otherwise it looks like crap, and I'll explain that in a little bit. All right, here we go. This is our test piece. Let's hope for the best. We're gonna try quite a few of them, so you're gonna see me run these pieces through, and then I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna check them. The face always goes down when you're shaping stuff like this. And hopefully we get it all correct. All right, ready? Good golly, here we go. so that seemed kind of weird. We'll find out here in a minute. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to fit all these guys in here, and we're gonna measure for raised panels. Yeah, Squeaker says get to it. Okay, so we got, yeah, this is how the door is gonna be. This is for over the microwave. It's very tiny. If you don't have money and you build a fence, you know, you can build yourself a router table like this. Don't expect it to be perfect. You're still gonna have problems. No matter what you do, you're gonna have problems. Even with new tools, you gotta get used to them. Basically what I always say, you gotta make friends with the new tools until you get used to them and they become friendly and they're easier to use. When you have stuff like this and it's all made of wood, this can move because the weather's changing. This can move because the weather's changing. The router table is just 25,000 years old. And yeah, it's seen better days. Yeah, when you wanna be precise and you're getting these little weird, I mean, it's not, can you even see it? I don't know if you can even see that or not. It's barely, it looks like it's out of square a little bit, but the back is perfect. So it's kind of a conundrum, but glue will fix that. So we're gonna glue the snot out of it, and then it's getting painted blue. So yeah, there's that. All right, now I'm gonna fit all these in the openings, make sure they all work, and I didn't screw up something else. And then I'm gonna turn you back on, and we're gonna be shaping panels. So here's how I go about figuring out my panels. You see this right here? Yeah, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna go from tongue to tongue, and I'm gonna subtract a 1/16 of an inch. So your panel can move around. Hey, everybody. All right, so we have the raised panel cutter on there. It's about halfway up. I don't like to make one cut at a time. It's just too much sawdust. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put the wings on it too. Crap. You know what I should do though? I should put on this featherboard. Poop. Okay, so featherboard. Here's how we go about putting the featherboard on. Take a piece of material. These are actually the raised panels in here. Just gonna clamp these up here like this. And then we're gonna give it a little pow with the dead blow. All right, see they're in there, they're nice and loose. I'm gonna take the 3-pound dead blow and give it a whack. Just one of these. And we tighten it up a little bit more. And there we go. And now it's stiff enough to keep it flat. We have our push stick right here that we're gonna use. So we're gonna really have to push on this thing pretty good. Gosh, what a pain in the butt. I mean, you can see, made out of 100% scrap. The only thing that makes this work really well are the dominoes. Because man, these dominoes are just something else. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we go. Hopefully we don't screw it up. Everything got shaped and we're ready to go. This weekend, I think I'm gonna put the blue around here, a couple coats of blue and a little bit on the back. It comes out better and smoother. Also, the reason I painted blue is because you don't want MDF showing if the panel happens to move a little bit, because I leave about a 1/16 of an inch all the way around so it can expand and contract with the door. I don't glue these in and I don't pin them in place. So painting blue around the edge here is kind of a good thing. Get a couple coats on there and then sand it with 320 to make it nice and smooth like the rest will be when I go to spray it. Hey everybody, welcome back to day 5. I got half the doors already glued up and I forgot to turn on the cameras. So I turned both the camera on that's right here and that one right there. All right, so when we do cope and stick doors, I sand all the parts first, and before I do that, I put little pencil marks. Both the top rail and the bottom rail, you can see the line right here. And that's where the top and bottom rail go together. I can sand all this first, all the way up to the line right here. That's important because when I go to glue this up, which we're gonna do right now, I use that as my guide as to where to put glue and where not to. So we have our 2 spring clamps, and the reason I'm using spring clamps and not my jaw clamps is because the jaw clamps that I have are so big that it covers this joint, and I don't want it to happen like that, so we're not gonna do that. And you can also see I can line my raised panel up, since it's about a 1/4 inch in. I can put that in place first, kind of center in between the 2 lines a little bit. All right, now we're gonna glue this up. So I'm gonna start in the middle. Get all sorts of kinds of glue in there. Glue the back, and I'm gonna glue this face. And this face is really important to get a lot of glue in this face because you don't want a starved joint. A starving joint is not a good joint, especially for doors like this. Okay, we're gonna make sure we're gluing the right side up. And then we're gonna glue the whole kit and caboodle here. All right, so we're gonna pull the glue through all that shapeness and the beautifulness of it all. So we got the back, we got the top of the tongue, we got the other side of the tongue, we got the bottom of that shape piece right there all over the place. And especially this edge here, because this edge right here gets seen the most. It's the face of the door. All right, then we're gonna slide this in, try to line the back up the best we can so that's smooth, and drop that into place. Put a little bit more glue on here. And if you're asking, why don't I just put glue on here like this and then brush it out? It's because it's a pain in the butt to do. And I really over glue things that way. And this I could just dab it in there and do what I want. Cook's choice, you can do whatever the hell you want because you're the one building your project. I'm not building it. This is just the way I go about doing it. All right, there we go. There's that part. All right, so we're gonna do this side now. All right, so it's important to get the back part of the tongue. This face right here, super important to get glue on it, okay? Because that is the most visible seam there is right there. All right, now we're gonna do the same thing here. You don't have to shove it all the way onto the panel. You should have about a 1/16 of an inch, but what you wanna do is you wanna get this edge right here nice and flat. Okay, you can see this is the 3-inch rail for the bottom, and you can see the pencil mark right there for the 2-inch. So we're just gonna glue this guy up first. We're probably gonna add more to these rails because what happens is this is all end grain and this will just suck in the glue. Okay, so the most important place to get glue is this edge here and this edge here because that's the face. I'm just gonna tap it in place with the dead blow. That feels nice and flush. And that feels nice and flush. All right, I've wiped all the glue off that I can. We can lay it flat on the carpet or we can use our cauls. These are cauls. They're usually used for gluing up large butcher blocks and things like that. Big, huge things to make them flat. But this time we're gonna use them just for this so we don't get glue all over the place, even though I will anyway, because I put a lot of glue on these. Now you can see right here, I've got glue there. I've got glue over here. When I glue this up, you're gonna see it just splooge all over the place. So gaps like this, see that gap? Usually what I do is I'll just take some glue and I'm gonna fill that in before I even clamp it up. What about the back? Yeah, you're right. All right, this one right here, we'll just shove it in there. It can never hurt to put glue in the cracks. A starving joint is not good. All right, here we go. So can you see what I'm doing now? You can see the ends, they're just splooging out glue all over the place. Okay, there's so much glue on the inside, it's gonna come squeezing out of everywhere. You see that right there? Which is all right, and it'll continue to come out for quite a while. Now you can either take a little pointy stick like this. I also use a toothpick sometimes right here. And we'll just clean this out the best we can. If this was a stain job, this would not be good because this water-based polyurethane will cover all of this glue and you won't even know. I'm gonna sand it a little bit because you definitely wanna sand it, but for the most part, it won't matter. Check out the back. The back looks good. I usually tend to wipe that off with my fingers first or my thumb, just push it into the joint. All right, you wanna check the doors, even like 10 minutes later, go back and just take a look at them because glue will come out of these damn things for a while. You put pressure on them, it takes a while for it to squeeze out. Anyway, well, there we go, there's a door. All right, we're just gonna set it aside. And we'll keep taking a look at it every now and then. Before I leave for the day, I'm gonna just go back and check all the corners and make sure I don't have tons of glue. European model of glue, Schutunza. More like a little Italian in it. It's a Schutunza. All right, so tomorrow, we're gonna take them out of clamps. We're going to sand them up nice and beautiful so they're all flat. We're going to fit them in the openings of the face frames because the face frames are still loose. And then once these are all fit and the handles are all on them, the door stops are on, the face frames, we're gonna spray the face frames and all the doors dark blue, 3 coats, and then we're gonna mill all the upper carcass parts, which is the 3/4 inch pre-finished maple, and then we're gonna assemble that and then we're gonna go install it. So it'll be pre-finished and finished before I even get the damn carcasses built because that's the way I do things. It just works better. It looks better. All right, there we go. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Ready? Here we go. 1 and 2.
Subscribe now.
I started gluing up all the doors and I forgot all about turning you guys on. Ooh. Oh yeah, you know. Oh, squeakers. That's not good. Beaded molding. Phew. All right, this is boring, so I'm not gonna film this part. How many pairs of glasses do you need to see what the hell you're doing? I need about 6, because I'm blind as a freaking bat. Sorry, I skip around a lot. My brain is always thinking about 10 other things at once. Right now I'm thinking, oh, it's 3 o'clock. Time for a nap.